This is Simple Interest 101 with Frank the Husky. Just kidding, Frank can't talk. It's with me, your lovely math teacher, who you may not see again. It was nice knowing you. Okay, simple interest. If you were here on Monday, then you would have seen that simple interest is interest that continues to give you the same amount no matter how long you have that interest. And we'll talk about why that's important when we talk about compound interest. So for today, with simple interest, we have a nice, neat little formula. This formula is I equals PRT. You should have seen this on the last slide. Now, if you raced through the last slide and you didn't actually look at it, or you did not take any notes on it, I'm here to help you now. So I stands for interest, because we're trying to calculate the amount of interest. P stands for principal. And principal is basically how much money did you invest in a bank. So let's say that I invested $500 in a bank. Okay? So I come up to a bank, I say, I have $500, I'd like to invest this $500 in your bank. Your bank is then going to quote you a rate. That's our R here. This bank tells you our rate is 2%. Okay? Which means that the longer you have that money in the bank, the more money you're going to make. Something you need to understand about interest. You have two different kinds of interest. You have interest that you get the money from, and you have interest that a bank gets money from. If you make an investment in a bank, you get the money back. If you have a loan, the bank makes money off of you. So an investment, the rate that you're quoted, is basically a thank you for using our bank, and you get money because you're using their bank. It's a very nice thing that banks do, and it keeps their customers around, and it promotes you keeping your money there longer for longer periods of time, or putting more money in the first place. What's really important about rates for when we use our equation here is we need to use it in a decimal version. So the decimal version of 2% is 0.02. If you do not know how to do that, you take the percentage, which in this case is 2, okay? And then you divide it by 100. Or, if you like to do little cheats like I do, you move the decimal place forward twice. Okay? And this has gotten me 0.02. So 2% is 0.02. Be really careful. You can't just use 2, because 2, while we're talking decimals, means 200%. And I'm sorry, no bank loves you enough to give you twice your money back. It will not be 200. So right now I have a bank who's giving me a rate of 2%, which is actually pretty good. Now I want to leave my money in there for 3 months. So T here equals time. I'm going to leave it in there for 3 months. Now we're going to calculate how much money am I going to make in those 3 months from this bank, from leaving my money there. So we're going to take my equation here, and we're going to break each of the variables down. So I just stands for interest. Sorry, I thought we were way too far over. But we're not, we're good. I stands for interest, so I'm trying to calculate my interest. P is principal, and if you notice up here, my principal is $500. So I'm going to put $500 where my P was. Okay? Oh no, don't do it. Don't say it's not true. I charged you. Okay, my rate now is 0.02. Not 2, because remember 2 means 200%, which we definitely don't have. Also recall, when these are close together, it means that they need multiplication. So that's multiplication. 2 parentheses right back to back means multiplication. Lastly, I have time. So that was my rate. Time was 3 months. So that's my equation all filled out. So now I need to evaluate and get down to a final interest number. So I have I equals, let's do 500 times 0.02 first. So this is where you get out your phone or Google to do a calculation. Now I know what this is. It's 10. 500 times 0.02 is 10, which means that 2% of 500 is $10. So I have 10. I'm still left with my time, which is 3. Now this might be a little confusing, but what this is telling me is 2% of 500 is 10. So every single month that I keep my money in here, I'm going to get $10 back. Okay? The bank is going to pay me $10 as a thank you for using our bank. If I want to know at the end of 3 months, I simply either have to add 10 up 3 times or multiply by 3, which we're going to do now. 10 times 3 is 30. So at the end of 3 months, I have now made $30. Does that make sense? $30. So I start with 500, and I will end with 530 if I choose to take my money out after 3 months. Now, don't worry about taking this down for notes. You don't need to pause the video. There are notes in the next slide that you can copy this down from. We're going to work this out using a table now. I want to show you month to month, if I kept these variables, I erased time, what would it look like? Okay, so if I start with, let's say months. The interest that I'm making, so this will be how much interest do I make per month, or how much interest did I make that month. And then the total amount of money that is left in my bank account. So month 0, I have made no interest. I literally just put my money in, and I start with $500. Month 1, if you recall, 2% of 500 is $10, right? So after month 1, I've only made $10, which means my total is now $510. Next month, we're going to take 10, we're going to add it again, or multiply by 2, which is 20. So by month 2, I've now made $20, which means my total is now $520. Month 3, we've done this one already. I make $30, $530. And let's go down to month 4. I make $40, which is just 10 added over each 4 months. Okay? And that's $540. If we take a look at this, from here to here we've added $10. From here to here we've added $10. From here to here we've added $10. And from here to here we've added $10. This is important because this is what is so special about simple interest. The interest does not change even though I now have more money in my account. It's always going to be based off that initial $500. So even if I go and I put more money into the account later, it's still based off of the initial $500 I started the account with. That's what's special about simple interest, so keep that one in mind. Now, you may want to pause the video and copy this down into your notes. It'll be helpful later on when we do some problems on simple interest. If not, then feel free to move on to the next slide. And I will see you for compound interest. Bye.